Welcome to Video Maker,
the podcast that cuts past the highlight reel and takes you straight into the raw behind-the-scenes stories of creatives and makers. I'm Carly, founder of The Good Vibe Media, a woman-owned and operated video production agency and a creative studio space. Every week on Video Maker, I sit down with filmmakers, creators, and creative entrepreneurs for a deep, honest conversation you don't typically hear. The late nights, the pivots, the breakdowns that shape the breakthroughs. These are the conversations and stories that make people like me and so many other creatives need to hear. This is a space for growth, for lessons, for community, a place where we learn from each other's real, unfiltered journeys. This is Video Maker. Let's get rolling. Hi, welcome back to another episode of Video Maker. I'm Carly, and this episode is part of our Females Who Film series, where we shine a spotlight on the women behind the lens. Today's guest is Camila. She is the owner and artist behind Maria Camila, a photography and videography brand focused on amplifying visibility for conscious entrepreneurs, both in their image and voice. She's been in the industry over 10 years and is known for her candid perspectives and ability to balance polished aesthetics with transparent authenticity online. Based out of Scottsdale, she serves leaders nationwide and is sought after for her approach and thought leadership with powerful visuals that sell your authority in seconds and magnetize the right people into your world. Camila is also the host of the podcast Speak Your Truth and Look Good Doing It, where she shares her tips and insights to help you feel supported as you're launching your brand and becoming an industry outlier. We are so excited to dive into this conversation. Welcome.
Wow, what an intro. It's so interesting to hear myself or see myself from the outside, but that was like, wow, yeah. Wow. Thank you so much.
Pretty spectacular. And I have to shed some light on your beautiful co-pilot here, Callie, the sweetest dog ever.
Yeah, I'm
so
his
sweet.
Emotional support human,
Yes.
and he's my emotional support animal. And thank you so much for having us here. We're so happy to be here and chat and just be part of the show.
Well, I'm really excited for this conversation because I met you a couple years ago, and when I was first introduced to your work, I mean, you can tell you have such this beautiful, authentic, I don't know, it's just like a style that feels so real and so raw. And the word authenticity and authentic is thrown around quite a bit, but when you absorb the content that you capture for so many of your clients and even your own, like you feel it's genuine essence. And that is such a gift. So I'm so grateful to know you as a human, as a creative. And yeah, thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you. It's so interesting to see how my work is perceived, because obviously it just comes from my imagination, but it is interesting having contrasts with how other people are, because I know other people use their art to express different parts of themselves, or maybe it's like their what's the word, like this persona, like alter ego maybe, or like just people just have different reasons. So it's interesting to be mirrored back just how the work is felt, and it just means a lot to me.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. And every time we see you working in the studio too, it always just makes my heart really happy because you create like such epic shit. And in the short amount of time that you're in here, I'm like, damn, that would have taken most people like a full day of production. So it's beautiful to see you work in the studio too. We're very grateful to have you in our orbit.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to start with some rapid fires to get us warmed up. So the first question is, what was the first thing you ever made that you were so proud of?
Ooh. I'm thinking, I think this is when I realized that I was an artsy kid, but I think it was probably in 4th grade. I started drawing. I would look at illustrations in my, like picture books when I was like in 3rd grade, and I started drawing out those pictures for my teacher, and I remember I would gift them to them, and she would be like, oh my gosh, and I was like, oh, art, when I create art for people, it makes them happy. And that's when it kind of started clicking that I'm like, I kind of have a knack for creativity and connecting with people in that way. That's like my first memory of just expressing myself in that way and like 3rd grade.
That's so cool. Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. It would be fun to see some of those images, like, back in the archives of your teacher's gifts. That's really cool. I love that. What's something in your gear kit that you cannot live without?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. My roller bag.
Oh,
I got myself a roller bag. I used to have a camera backpack, and I kind of went through the trend of like, so I come from Utah, and in Utah, the adventure-esque type of photography and videography where like you go out there and you have like a camera backpack and that aesthetic. I lived that life for a couple years until my back was so heavy. And then I remember I just got a Wander, which don't mean to plug them in, but like they created this roller bag that it was like cute and aesthetic because it has like a ton of pockets, and it's my favorite. I love that I just use a little roller bag to travel, to go to shoots, that especially being a photographer and videographer, and your back just gets so heavy. It is like my favorite, most chic accessory where it fits everything, and it's also so practical. I'm very passionate about that bag.
Yes, I love it. I am sold. I'm like, send me the link. Click purchase right now.
Yes.
That's awesome. So what do you carry in the bag? Do you have 2 camera bodies, 2 lenses? Yeah.
I just have 2 lenses. I'm pretty minimalist. I used to be super techie about having a 50 and 80 of this. And I'm like, now I just have like 2 lenses, 2 bodies, Sony. And then one is like my video camera that has like a rig already kind of built into it. And then my photography camera. And then, from there is just like laptop. But I'm very simple. I'm very simple with my gear. And I love that bag.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to dive into that. I'm definitely buying one. Okay. What is your favorite thing that you've ever captured? If you could roll back into the archive, what is one thing that stands out that's like your favorite?
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Favorite thing I've captured. Oh my gosh. I have to say, my favorite shoot of all time is actually, it's on my website, but it's with my friend Sheena. We actually shot it here.
Oh,
I was here. It's, if you look at our review, review that I left for you, the one here on the canvas.
Oh, yes.
But I did a shoot with my friend whose brand is called Make One Day Happen, and she is like a sound visualization incredible expert, and her brand is about future visualization and just a way that, like, yes, she uses sound bowl, but she doesn't lead with being sound bowl healing. It's like future self visualization through sound in order to help you lock in and really envision and feel into that version of self. And when we did her brand, we just did so many images that were more like motion blur and experiential, and I played with different gradients. And those images are still images that, it is not to pitch myself, but she's such a powerful networker. That it's wild how that project is what makes her brand stand out so much, that throughout every presentation she gets feedback of like, your brand photos just really are so captivating, and the way she stands out, that there was it positioned her where she was able to be at this event called Eudaimonia, where like the headliner is like Gabby Bernstein and like Andrew Huberman, and just seeing like the brand with like the work that we created, that it just like plugs her in to position her in experiences like that. Everything about that project felt so organic. And anyway, we shot it here.
That's so awesome.
It's amazing to see the links of how everything comes together in creativity and playing around and positioning yourself in a way that's not so matter of fact and experiential. And anyway, she's crushing it.
And how beautiful that's almost like it's evergreen too. It's such a creative shoot that you did that was so unique and different for her, but also so evergreen. It'll live with her brand forever.
Totally.
Yeah, that's awesome. So cool. I know exactly. I can see the image very clear in my head. That was such an epic shoot. Okay, what is your go-to coffee order?
Girl, I'm so basic. To me, I know people romanticize their coffee experience. I'm like good with like an iced Americano. Like, let's just get to the point with like a splash of like maybe coconut milk, and that's it.
Yes, I love it.
Just
Hey, I'm all about the iced Americano too. Like just give me the straight espresso. That's all I need. Okay, where do you feel the most creative?
Oh my gosh. I honestly, when I'm just riffing with a client and we're thinking of, like, even just yesterday, there's one of my clients that are like, she goes, I've gotten feedback that like, people, she's a coach, and she's like, people see me as like homegirl, like they're entertained by what I'm putting out, but there's no authority there. So we're like, okay, so that means that you don't need an entire rebrand. You just have a gap in the way people are connecting with you. How do we bring images together to just fill that authority gap? We're not redoing everything. We just want to bring that edginess side of you, and just, I love asking questions about what problem do you need solved in your business, and how do we bring the photos and images to solve for that? And us just like brainstorming and creating a mood board together. That's when I feel like my most creative, where it's just a co-creation of asking questions of, I like this, you like this, oh, I like this, let's try this. And it's so fun for me. Even talking about it, I'm like so lit up.
Yes.
About how that
I feel
was.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That is so cool. Do you have repeat clients, or are most of your clients kind of like a one-time big package? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I've had both. So some people just come to me once when they do like their rebrand, but I will say if they're launching a lot of like online service providers, if they're launching another offer, or I would say definitely I have repeat clients if they're constantly marketing.
Got it.
There's like my people that are like, I just need a website. I get clients through just my referral, and I need photos that position me in this way.
Yeah.
That would be like a one-time thing.
Yep.
But I would say anybody that's consistently marketing, my real estate agents, online entrepreneurs, or people that really want to like, just have more of a campaign in the way that they're marketing themselves. I would say those are my repeat people that come to me maybe once a year for a shoot.
Yeah, so good. Okay, next we've got 3 more questions. So who is someone you would drop everything to collaborate with, and why?
2 people.
Okay,
I'm Latina. So Carol G, because I love how she's grown, and she's also Colombian, and I'm very connected to like my culture and creating in that way, and I just love creating work like that. So she's definitely in the bucket list for me. And then also Young Miko, which she's another reggaeton artist. She's from Puerto Rico, but just she's so edgy and she's so cool. That those are 2 that I'm like, wow, doing a shoot with them would be like immediately, right away, like tell me where to go, what to do. I would go now.
Oh my gosh, that would be epic. Have you done music videos? Have you produced music?
No.
Okay.
No, but the shoot I would be willing to do.
100%. Like, yes, I can do that. And maybe come do some in the studio.
Yes,
Get some funky lighting and do something kind of crazy and creative.
And this place is perfect for that. I literally utilize it. All of the scenes that you have, like, I can use for everything.
Totally. So. Yeah, enough diversity. Okay, we're manifesting that. All right. If your entrepreneurial journey had a theme song, what would it be?
Ooh, oh man, honestly, it's been like, what's a theme song? I really like just like whimsical, happy electronic, go lucky music, I guess. I guess it's because my brand is so, yes, I'm connected to my culture so much, but I also think I'm kind of minimalist and simplistic in the way that I go about it. So I like lean towards just happy-go-lucky electronic, like melodic, house music type of thing.
I love that. That's usually what we have playing in the studio too. Yeah. I love that. Okay, last one. What is one thing about your creative process that people might be surprised to know?
Ooh, I'm kind of nervous to say this. Sometimes I don't know if I like having a big team.
Yeah.
But the reason I say this, I think maybe I can work better on like my leadership skills and working with a team. But sometimes I produce my best work when it's just me and the client. and they don't have outside influence of like do this, do that, because I already know how a photo's gonna turn out. I already know how I'm gonna edit it. There's so many things that I already know about the post editing process that one-on-one intimate time that I have with the client, sometimes that's how some of my best work is created. 100%. And I'm kind of nervous to say that because I do want to grow a team one day and I have to develop these skills. But
for sure. Well, and there might be like series of your business too, where, you know, there are certain projects that are all you. And then there are other projects that might need more of a team collaborative effort, you know? Yeah. But I feel that, especially being a creative too. I feel like I remember the first time I hired someone onto my team with Good Vibe. It's like letting go of the reins of like trusting that someone can execute a vision in the way that like I would do it. That was terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, when you're creative and you're passionate about every aspect of your work and your art, that's hard to let go of.
Totally. And I recognize that on the horizon that is a skill that I have to develop.
Yeah.
And a new identity of like having high belief in the people that are co-creating with me.
Totally.
So yeah, that's why I'm like, ooh, that's where my growth is.
It is so beautiful though, because when you do have that, you know, capacity to have that co-creation, it's just been the most beautiful part about building a team and a business is having that ability to see things created in ways that like I wouldn't necessarily do on my own.
Totally.
So good. Okay, let's dive into some of your background. I would love to know the origin story of like when you picked up your first camera. Okay. What was that first creative spark where you're like, yep, this is what I want to do?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So this was actually when I was in high school, when I was about 16. And so one thing about me, I'm from Colombia, daughter of immigrants, raised in Salt Lake City. And my parents didn't really have like a ton of money. So the way that I would like get creative was always like making my MySpace look cute, spending a lot of time online. And I would just teach myself stuff. I always felt very artsy and creative. And I used to play the violin. And then I couldn't, honestly, I couldn't afford taking private classes to like expand the violin. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to teach myself a new instrument. And at first I was like, I'm going to learn, I was going to say a keytar, but like a synth.
Oh, yeah.
And learn to make like electronic music. And I was like, okay, that's like a little much. But from all the time that I spent online, photography stood out to me because my cousin started doing photography. And this was when Flickr.
Yeah.
Do you remember Flickr?
I remember. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And she started posting images of her photography on Flickr. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, I want to do that. And then that's when I told my dad, I switched my hobby and I'm going to be a photographer. And I remember I told my dad, I was like, I really want to get a DSLR. And it was like $700.
Yeah.
But at the time, it felt like such a big purchase. But I begged and begged and begged for it. And then my dad eventually got it for me. And I remember when he got it, he was like, you better you better milk this, okay? Like,
we aren't switching anymore.
Yeah. Like, I vividly remember that visual of my dad like at Best Buy, and I'm like, yes. But he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get you this. But it panned out. And then after that, I just started teaching myself. I'm like, how does this camera work or whatever? But I would say it started with that, and then it led into, I just want to be known as a girl. Because I remember in high school, Facebook started growing and MySpace. And I was like, I just wanted to be known for the girl that takes nice photos. And I just want to take cute photos of my family. And it was as simple as that. It was never this career. It was just like, I just want to take cute pics. I just like aesthetics. And that's it.
Totally. And then when did you realize that shift of, I could create a whole business around this?
Wow. I love this question. So coming from Utah, which is like influencer world that now we know how it's grown for, it's so big. Yeah. This was probably, I was like 19 maybe. And I had a friend. So it was like me and my two friends who she was kind of like trying to do her, at the time they were called bloggers. They were not had influencers yet, but we would just go out and take photos because I saw that she started kind of posting a lot of like content with hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she's trying to grow a following. And I remember I was like, hey, I can take photos of you. Like, I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
And we connected in that way. And that's how I kind of started even building a following or community in Utah. But it was still for fun. To me, technically we were building a brand, but I wasn't conceptualizing what was happening. I was like, we're just having fun. And I remember we would talk about growing our Instagrams, like, oh, it's just our little art project. Really, our real life world is like going to college and getting a degree. This is just like, you know, our fantasy world, but like the real world is like over there. And then I had there was this guy friend who he was also a photographer, and he started asking me, hey, how is it that you edit? How do you edit this? And I was like, oh, I will gladly show you because I love collaborating. And next thing I know, he started growing a following and also started working with brands. And and then that's when he told me, he's like, what I've been doing is just that I have these shoes or whatever, and I go to like the mountains and take photos of shoes, and then I'm gonna email these photos to these brands and just say, you can have these assets for whatever you want. Like, he was just building relationships.
Wow.
And he's like, I'm just cold emailing them and sending them just the work that I'm creating. And that's how brands started reposting him.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, wait, I taught you this.
Yeah.
Like, if you know how to, like, if he's doing it, I can do it too.
100%. Yeah.
And then that's when I started doing it too. I was like, I'm going to start taking photos of like literally anything, of whatever I could. And I remember at the time, Free People had just opened a store in Salt Lake, and they were like a new brand there. And I could tell that they were building community. And this was also, now I was getting momentum with just like getting my name out there, and also doing tons of collab shoots with the bloggers at the time. And I remember I got hired for an engagement shoot, and it was of this guy and girl who shot the engagement. And I remember the girl's like, hey, my dress was from Free People. And yeah, she was like, my dress was from Free People. Maybe we should tag them. And I remember at the time I was like, no, tagging them that's not enough to get their attention. Like, everybody's tagging them. Everybody wants to work with Free People right now. So what I did is that I grabbed the photos and I put them on a Google Drive. That way it would be a link. And I literally went on Free People's website, just like their regular, like, contact us form. Yeah. Like, broad, super cold, email them. And I was like, hey, this is my Instagram, and like, these are some photos, the same thing. Like, here, you can just have these photos for whatever you want. Yeah. And anyways, I think maybe like a week and a half passed by or something. And that's when I like check my phone one of these days, and the bride that I took like the engagement photos of, she's like, oh my gosh, we're getting flooded with followers. What the heck is happening? Like, how did you do it? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And Free People reposted the photo and was like, we got this submission of this type of dress. And that's when my following went and that's when I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Little old me being recognized by this brand. And then they kept reposting me. They just kept doing it. And I was like, I'm just going to keep sending photos. And then eventually they hosted a retreat in Moab in Utah. And I was a photographer hire for that. And it was such a full circle moment of like, this thing I'm doing for fun, that I'm just playing around. I have no business acumen. Yeah. I'm just seeing what happens. Yes. And then that's when I started getting confirmation that I was like, this can work. And then some of the other people that like I shot before with the same thing of like just a cold email. It was, now she's massive, but Lauren Everts of Him and Her podcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Same thing. I emailed her and I was like, hey, can I shoot your wedding?
Are they from Utah?
No, they're from California, but I had people that I know in Utah. And they're people that now have like massive brands. Yeah. Yeah. But
that's awesome.
That kind of is what gave me, it was wild to me, the people I was able to connect with just by sending a cold email. Yeah. And putting myself out there, that it gave me enough evidence that I'm like, dang, this can really be a career. And then And then I've been learning all the business skills after the fact. But that gave me like a tester of the possibility of what could happen.
Totally. You and I are so like that way. It's like you find the creative fun and the heart and the passion of it, and then the business stuff can come later. Like you figure that out as you go.
Yeah.
What would you say how many no's did you get, or like unresponses did you get versus responses? Like were you like pitching and, reaching out to quite a bit?
Yeah, I was getting some momentum, but I wasn't really getting a lot of no's, to be honest. And I think the reason why I wasn't getting no's was because it was still so new to even connect with brands. And I think that maybe now as I think back on it, that I was building a brand and I had a following and I had community and I had high engagement, that I think they're like, oh yeah, let's send this girl product. And I'm kind of blown away, honestly, by the people that I've been able to connect. I'm like,
other than Free People, what are some other brands that surprised you?
There was this brand called Yeah Nice. I don't know if they're still on, but it's like YEA.NICE. But the marketing person is Sean White's coach.
Okay.
His I feel we're dropping names.
No, this is great.
JJ Thomas or whatever. Yeah. And he was a marketing person with Yeah Nice, and same thing. And he's like, I got a bunch of beanies. I'm about to mail you a whole bunch of beanies.
Yeah.
Or another camera company was called Langley. They also reposted me and they used my image for their website. I don't know. I think maybe I could have had better business acumen. I was just delighted that I was getting noticed. And it just gave me evidence of like, oh, there's like traction here with what I'm creating.
For sure. What business development skills and, how have things evolved and changed within the back end of your business through working with all of these different brands?
Totally. I mean, working with a brand is such a rush, and I feel like it felt like legitimacy, but at the same time, outreach is still work.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to sustain it. And I was just like throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah.
But to me, I think the way it's evolved is once I started learning marketing, because I got momentum in my business and things really slowed down around like 2015 for like 3 years because I didn't know what I was doing. And then I went and got a job, got all my adulty life things together. And once I had like money saved up to actually fully give myself more education on business with my with the skill set that I have, and that's when I launched again in 2022. That's when I was like, I know marketing is a weak point that I have. And so learning branding, learning positioning, learning marketing skills, and also to me, what helped me stand out or kind of like I realized that my business doesn't need to have these big names for it to be legit. Like so many of the entrepreneurs and the relationships that I build are so meaningful and I get to grow with them. That they're the backbone of my business, like the super lovey-dovey, emotionally vested entrepreneurs, and just learning how to market to them and thought leadership of like, and it led into the brand that I have now, which is visibility, which is like just be emotionally brave. And that's how you build trust built through others online, and people will feel your heart. But definitely learning those skills. That was a big shift. And also, I'm a projector in human design. And we need to get the invitation. So to me, having more of my brand and letting kind of like the work come to me and me just like letting myself be seen in my zone of genius, that has been more sustainable than like cold emailing a brand, which is still a great strategy. I know a lot of people run their businesses in that way. I had success in that way. But now what's more sustainable for me is marketing myself through email, social media, podcast, and networking community.
Totally. Well, it's almost like a practice what you preach type thing, because what you do for you do for yourself, what you do so well for all of your clients. So I imagine that attracts the right clientele into your circle. Is there any other like techniques or things that people could think about that are like maybe a creative is, I don't know, wanting to attract a certain type of client or brand, but they just don't know how to do it? Like, what would be some advice that you would give to them to say, this is how I've really attracted my ideal client?
I would say I still think outreach helps. I
Yeah.
think that if you can provide, like, shoot content for a brand and provide them value, like, hey, this is what I can do for you, and give them a little peek, I still think there's value to that. And yes, you do have to put in the work, and you may run the risk of, like, being ignored. But I still think that that's a pretty high value outreach,
For
I would
sure.
say. And the other one, if you want to go the route of, like, oh, I just want the work to come to me, is build a brand by sharing your story. Like, to me, yes, I love aesthetics and I love beautiful photos and images, but photos and videos. But a lot of it stems from just sharing my story of being from a different country and what it felt like to kind of like keep my culture hidden, because I felt like living in Utah, there's not a lot of like not like Latin music that you hear and things like that. Rather here, like that gets to be beautifully celebrated. So sharing my story of just like my life story has connected other people with what I do. And I think by virtue of doing that, you will consequentially find people with aligned values that also resonate with what you're doing.
Absolutely. Were there any, like, well, we call them opportunities for growth, but any moments of failures or times where you're like, oh, that was a big learning curve that has completely shifted the way I operate my business and my creative work? Can you share some stories in those early years?
Do we have time for all of my failures? Thank you for that question. So many failures. I mean, one of them is the beliefs that we have about ourselves as creatives. Like, I think so often we think like, oh, I'm creative, I'm an intuitive, like business is not for me. And it's like, no, business is a creative act. You were meant to do this because you are good with ambiguity. You are good at trusting yourself, and you're good at bringing something from the outside and put it into from the ether and then putting it out into the world. And I needed to make that identity shift. So identity is massive to be a creative and run a business. And the second thing is, you don't have to do it alone. I wish I would have invested in mentorship 10 years ago. I think it's so scary to drop like 5K or 3K before you have results, but like you're investing in your education essentially when you're hired a mentor, and mentorship has been massive for me.
Where do you find your mentors? Like, how do you seek them out?
Ooh. I mean, I like social media. That's been big. That's how I found a lot of my network. Through how they promote themselves, their branding, hearing their thought leadership and different communities. I love that. And then I would say other failures is not taking care of myself. Being in survival mode can drain your creativity and drain your high level problem skills. I think it's so romanticized in entrepreneurship to go all in. And I granted, I even took it as a flex, as like, oh, I've been able to provide for myself and all of this, but it has been at the cost of like a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. And I'm learning now that it's like, I need to care for myself. I cannot build this business at the cost of myself.
Totally. In order to keep it sustainable and to keep the art and the creativity and everything that like made you fall in love with this like craft, in order to keep that sustainable, you do have to make sure you're healthy. Yeah. That's so good. All right. So you offer both photo and video services. How do you approach both of these services when you're working with a client? Tell me how you juggle the two.
Thanks for asking. So I would say I approach them a little differently. So when it comes to photos, so I lead with photography, not just with portrait photography, but editorial imagery, which to the people that don't know is essentially like we're telling the whole story of your shoot, not just capturing the portrait of you, but also like what concepts do you have about the work you do, and how can we create images that symbolize that, so that your intellectual property stands on its own and that your brand isn't just portraits of you. So I do tons of inquiry with clients on what what are your concepts?
Totally.
And like for example, even with Sheena, the shoot that I really like that we shot here, she before every client session, she does she does this thing where she's like, we're just gonna shake it off. We're just gonna jump around.
Now.
Yeah. And she's
bring her
always
in.
doing that. So
Yeah.
we did some like just images of her literally shaking off and in the motion blur. So it wasn't just there to be artistic. It's like that is literally something that she does inside her business. So that's how everything came together. And then when it comes to the video stuff, video can go in many directions in the way that I do it with people, but I'm focused heavily on assets that sell your authority rather quickly, and like what is a story that's going to touch people's hearts rather quickly. So I do, the word is called brand strategy, but it's essentially a process where I just want to know what are your most like your opinions that you don't even mess with. Like, I think oftentimes, even with me, I was like, oh, I like shooting family photos. I like fashion. And I'm good at portraits here. But then I realized that there's some core values into how I move around the world that I don't even mess with. And for me, that core value was like, I want to see more diverse leaders everywhere. And I also think that even within different cultures, like there's so many nuances, even as a Latina, Latina doesn't just look like me. It also looks so different. And I love bringing out that individuality in everybody. So once I realized that, oh, this is so much deeper than just taking photos, that is the work that gets people to pay you thousands of dollars for you to do what you do.
For sure.
So that's kind of the work that I do with people is let's pull out that wisdom that you have. And it's a vulnerable process. And then that shapes a lot of the work that we create, because when people walk out with the work that we do, we're not just creating content designed for volume, which is still an option, but it's more like assets that really elevate your authority and position you different in the way that potential clients are perceiving you. So it creates that expectation of like, oh, I'm going to be here for a deep transformation.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. That's huge. And you talked about it being such a vulnerable process, and you really do like expand your clients in so many senses of the word. Has there been a project or a client of yours that has really expanded you?
Oh my gosh.
And could you share like why or how?
Thank you for this question. So many.
Yeah.
I feel so fortunate to work with the genius people. I've worked with like, shout out to Kinfolk, Optimal Living. They're here.
I see them every 2 weeks.
Yes.
I've been going for the last year. It's changing my life.
Incredible.
Yes.
What I've learned about nervous system intelligence, or as Keiko would say it, your body is biointelligent.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay. But just even learning from them, that changed me. One of their, as we were doing their video work, a lot of people say, I don't even know what they do. I just go, but like, I don't know. And so I'm like, okay, then so that's a gap. We want to is bring out more of your thought leadership in a simplified way, because they're geniuses and say words like biointelligence and vitality.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Could you translate? So with them, as I kept inquiring like, wait, what is vitality? And all they say is like, if you built it, you can heal it. And it's a focus. It's about everything that's right within you, because so often people go to the chiropractor to get cracked or to fix a problem. And to them, their entire ethos is like, actually, this is actually optimizing your health. That the entire intention is about how it's what's right within you. And that changed my entire perspective in how I look at life, that instead of like looking for the problem, even in the way I market, kind of like marketing more of like the desire and the beauty of people are versus like pain points and the problems of everything all the time.
Totally.
And that working with them was a massive paradigm shift of how I understood the ability that we have to heal and be happy and live a better life.
Yes. So. Oh my gosh, I love that. We should go to one of their breathwork sessions or something together.
I agree.
And it truly is a sanctuary of mine. I'm really love. They have something special over there. Yeah. Okay, so you talk about strategy being just as important as the visuals themselves. How do you pull out someone's most powerful point of view before you even pick up the camera? You talked about this a little bit in the pre-production and mood boarded, but I'd love to tap in on that topic a little bit more too.
Ooh. These are all great questions. I gotta give it to you. This is an incredible podcast. I really like that this isn't fluff when it comes to the creative work.
Honey, we're pulling back the curtains here.
Yes, I love it. I hope that people get a lot of value into how, as creatives, we can really elevate. Because sometimes I think we're not taken serious and like, oh, you just take cute photos, and it's like, you don't understand. We are shaping culture.
Yes.
But to answer that question, it's honestly, to me, it's like the energetics of a shoot. And I say this because I think the safety that a client is able to feel on set with me, granted, the work that I do is working with conscious entrepreneurs. It's not necessarily for everybody, but that's my niche. And I had a client and she is a therapist. And she just did this on her own because we had like our shot list with the things we wanted to talk about. But there's something about that moment on set that she's like, I'm feeling something and I just want to open up about it. Yeah. And I was like, and she's like, can I just be honest? And I'm like, you know what? Trust yourself. Like, there's no wrong answer is what you are okay with getting behind. And only your body knows how much it is that you want to reveal. And she created a video about suicidal ideation, and it's a video got like tons of traction in it, but that was all on her own. I think it's important to just create an environment where people can access themselves and they will know what story demands to be expressed. And part of her thing was like, I just want to normalize talking about this, especially in the therapy space, because hair industry is also so much about, I don't know, not a lot of self-disclosure sometimes, or even like creating a brand. It's all very like clinical type of setting. So for her to come out, Renaissance Healing, she's in Arizona, check her out, she's amazing. But for her to lead with like so much heart and creativity and kind of bring down the maybe shame that we feel or embarrassment about these topics, that it just like disarmed the heaviness of the topic. And I was so proud of her, and
which is probably what people that are in her close circle or know her feel in that. But the fact that you were able to create like a space that was that comfort zone for her, now she can really expand that message and that essence to so many more to draw them in,
totally
authentic self. So that's beautifully said. And
it's also now in her client sessions, it's like vulnerability can happen faster, which you need that. You need vulnerability, and especially when you're a coach or you're working on a one-to-one setting, that it's a powerful asset for her that allows her to connect deeper with clients faster and build that trust. And I think it all starts with, do I feel safe within myself? Can I provide safe on set? Yeah. So on and so forth.
That's awesome. I love that. Okay, you say on your website that media has the power to shape who society sees as worthy of being seen, heard, and respected, and that your work is about reshaping who gets the spotlight. Can you dive into that a little bit more? How has that become such a strong part of your mission?
Yeah, well, growing up in Salt Lake, or even in self-development world and things like that, or just wanting to be a happier person, I didn't see a lot of like representation for our stories. And even with being Latina, like there's still such narrow stereotypes. It's kind of like the bold and audacious, spicy Latina, which there are some of us that are like that sometimes. But I was just craving more depth, because I didn't feel seen in the depth and the nuance of who I was as a person. And I also in my healing journey of like unpacking my culture and unpacking societal norms and all of these things, a lot of the mentors that have like deeply impacted my thinking have been Black women, have been Black feminists, have been Indigenous women, have been Chicana women. And I remember to them, they shaped so much of my thinking and my understanding of self and the space that I take up in this world. And I was like, wait, I want to see more of them get their flowers, and like we all benefit when they stand out. And also, I think that when you grow up in a world where you don't see yourself represented very much, you kind of learn to these tactics of survival, of how to get by, this like genius that you develop. And a lot of times in branding, it's always like, okay, well, what makes you different? What makes you stand out? And I think the beauty about leaders that come from, like, if they don't see themselves represented, is like, trust me, you do not need to know. We don't need more strategy into how you're different. You just need to share your story, and you just need to be seen as you are, because your individuality is already doing so much heavy lifting that you are at an advantage in offering a different perspective and wisdom to the world. So yeah, that was a big kind of like, you don't gotta try harder, you just gotta show up. But I need you to just believe me when I tell you what I'm telling you.
100%. And once they do, then they see and they feel it firsthand, you know. But it's taking that big step, that first big step. Yeah. And so knowing that this creative space, especially when we talk about video production, it can be male dominated, at least 10 years ago, for sure.
I forget about that. I'm so
oh my gosh, I know.
I forget that I'm in a male dominated. I forget.
Totally. Well, and I think it's shifting, because I do I went to film school in 2009, 10, and I swear there was like 3 girls in all of my film classes. And I just would look around and be like, what the heck? How? Like, how is it really that rare for females to like not be into this industry? I just I couldn't wrap my head around it, because I was so passionate about it.
Yeah.
I see things shifting. I definitely do. But it is very male dominated, especially in the world of video production. So what advice would you give to other female creatives trying to grow their craft and career in this industry?
No, what a beautiful question, because I actually haven't come across a lot of I honestly, maybe you, but like other, I guess, people in the way even that I do it, I realize that like I forget that I'm like one of the few women videographers that like I know.
Yep.
And I would
and how
say,
often do you hear, oh my gosh, I never see, because we hear it all the time too. It's like, wow, wait, you're a female videographer? Like, it's still very hard to come by.
Yeah. And don't wait for a table to open up to you. I think that's something that's worked out for me, is that I've never waited for permission. I'm just like, I'm going to be resourceful with creating my own table. And I think with social media or branding or a website, or like even just being a creator, we get to build those platforms for ourselves. And that's literally what I did. It wasn't, even when I launched my brand, it wasn't this formal process. It was like, I'm just going to start posting, and I literally never stopped.
Yes. You make your own table, and people will come and they'll join you.
Yeah. Now I'm here. This is such a wild moment right now.
Crazy. That's so awesome. Okay. You want to talk a little bit about what's next for you?
Ooh. What is next for me, honestly, this year is like taking care of myself. I have been so passionate about being an entrepreneur. I have been so passionate about being a woman, about taking up space, about being seen, and about the co-creation that I do with clients. But I would say this year is a year of like, this is very businessy, but just how can I offer better client results? How can I offer better client experiences? How can I care for myself better? It's just a lot of refinement. I'm like on year 4 now, and I have enough evidence, and I'm like, okay, I have proof of concept. I feel very knowledgeable in what I can offer people and what my process is. Now it's just a matter of refinement, and this business doesn't need to absorb my entire life force energy.
Totally.
I get to be a woman and date and live my life.
Yes.
And go get my nails done.
Yes.
And I would say that's next for me. Just, I mean, I have like cool projects that I have coming up with some clients that has me pumped. But yeah, this year is just, we're caring for her.
Caring for her. I love that. That's beautiful. It's awesome too, because I feel like there are seasons where we're so like, the visualization of the opportunity that we see for our creative work is so strong. And then very short after, it's like there's a season of like filling the other buckets of our life, whether it's our personal, whether it's our relationships or anything like that. And it's such a flow. Yeah. You know, like every season is so different. So I really relate to that.
Yeah.
Big time.
How would you say you have evolved? I'm curious to know, just in entrepreneurship since because you started this big project.
Yeah.
You have like a business. You have so many businesses in one place that.
Well, you talked a lot about that survival mode in the beginning, and that's a lot how I felt too in the very beginning, because when you're so passionate and you have so much fun doing what you love, but you don't know the business side of it, it does feel like a little survival sometimes, because you get so overwhelmed with work and there's all this abundance because people feel your authentic energy for your craft. And if you don't set like boundaries within yourself, and if you have tendencies of people pleasing, that can burn you out really quick. So that was a lot of like my early years of learning the hard way. And I think that's what forced me in a way to build a team, which was hard to do. Like we were talking about earlier, it's so hard to trust in other people to create a vision that you want to see for your clients. But it was such an expanding moment for me, because I feel like that was the opportunity to recognize how much I love collaboration, how much I love community, how much I love not doing it alone.
Totally.
I gained so much. I learned so much. So yeah, it's such a journey, and it's never ending. And I love knowing that there's always room for growth. Like that just excites me.
Yeah.
I love knowing that I'm never going to be like, I never want to feel like an expert. I always want to be curious and like learning more with the technology. I mean, that's the other thing about this industry is like technology, technique, like it's art. And there's so much that we can play with to expand our work. Knowing that, especially with like AI and, you know, tools and equipment and new things that are coming out, is there anything that you see in the future that might shift your work and how you operate within your business?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I also just want to say it's really cool, the community that you created here. Like it really filled in a gap of like creative places, especially video work, in a way that it just centered around like women or like feminine beings. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you.
In regards to like what's gonna shape the future with like AI and stuff, with how we create. Oh my gosh, something that's coming to mind is like AI photography that looks pretty dang well. And a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it, but I still think art is art. And
100%.
yeah, there's some pieces that I've seen that I'm like, dang, those colors and their tones, that it's so beautiful. So yeah, I would say things like that. I don't know if I see myself necessarily doing that, because I love being with the client, and I love the editing process and all the things. And there's still like that grittiness and sense of reality that happens, or organic with that work like that,
which AI could never replace.
Yeah.
So in a way, I feel like the artists like you know, that really lean in and understand and value and hold the space for that human connection is going to be even more valuable for people that are craving that.
Yeah.
I think the contrast might be a little bit more dynamic.
Totally. And I think that more, you know, now that you say that, it has me thinking of how imperfect type of imagery is so on trend right now.
Yeah.
Because everything's just so beautiful. Yes. There's something about like the greediness of a moment in time that it's that timeless essence. And yeah.
Totally. That's so true. Yeah. I love it. Okay, I want to ask this final question. We ask this to all of our podcast guests. So this is the letter to our future makers. If a young aspiring filmmaker or photographer or any creative found this podcast 10 years from now, what is one piece of advice that you would want them to take from you?
Wow. A piece of advice. I got like 10 pieces of advice. But I do think that tools change, but I think like look at your belief system. What do you believe about yourself and about the vision of what you are creating? Don't let yourself be limited by what you can create. And here's what I'll say is that, and I'll even own up to this, like a belief that I had that my mind has been blown, but I remember I used to think that photography was just like a trend, and because I thought it was just a trend, I didn't take advantage of like the full career opportunities. And to see brands like Like, I think there's a brand, Tessa, like the Tessa app. She's from Utah. She
Yeah.
was like in that community. And I remember her when she was like just shooting weddings. And now she's like a big, ginormous brand. And just the way she's being able to create her dream world by just like staying true to like her style and her vibe. And I just think that she wasn't a person that like, she just inspires me. But she just didn't seem like a person that was relying on trends. She has always stayed true to herself in that way.
She's setting her own trend.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, she's a trend, literally,
She's
she's a
trendsetter.
trendsetter. So seeing that, I realized that, oh, when my friends and I were creating our brand, like, that was real. That wasn't just like our little art project. Like, that really set the foundation of the dream life that I live now. So if you're check your belief system, everything, because again, tools change, but it's incredibly important for you to have vision that what you're creating matters, and like it really can take you lots of places.
Yeah. And maybe knowing like how your beliefs have evolved too, like with growth. What's a easy way or some advice that you could share with someone who might not feel in alignment or like need to figure out their beliefs? How do you tap into that? How do you find the most clarity within that alignment of your beliefs?
I think anytime that you feel anxiety in your body, like you're about to take an action and you're like, oh, that means that you have a belief about what's going to happen, that you're protecting yourself from something, that you're not taking action on that. And I think a lot of times we'll just say, oh, I just don't feel like it. Oh, I don't want to. And it's like, no, journal about that. Ask yourself, why don't I want to? Why don't I this? And that's been a massive ritual in my growth of digging so deep into, why am I feeling this tension in my body? Because that means that there's a narrative, a story your body's holding on to. And the moment that we reveal it, we have the power to recreate it.
Yes.
So
I love that you said recreate. This is something that, so I see Sarah at Kinfolk.
Yeah.
And this is something that she shared with me in our last evaluation a few weeks ago. But she said, she's like, I almost don't like this like sense of like, let it go, because it's never going to go anywhere. Like, you have these stories and this wiring and all these past experiences that you've had within the history of your being and your DNA that really, they are always there, but it's the awareness of how it feels and how you're responding to it in order to, I can't remember the word that you used, but it wasn't letting it go. It wasn't like shutting it away. It's
recreating.
like recreating the energy around it.
Yeah, the meaning that we are giving to this. Yes. Sometimes I could see how letting go may be just like avoidance rather than like, hey, let's reframe.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where transformation happens. Big time.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to their ethos of like, it's what is right within you.
Yeah.
And yeah, once we look at our lives and our bodies as like, when we realize that it's not what's wrong with us, it's like befriending our life story, befriending our circumstances and what we have. And can you just have like a better relationship with it rather than constantly shooing it away? Yes, that can transform you.
So good. Okay, how can people stay in touch with you? Where can we find you?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm mostly active on Instagram. That's like my main platform, and it's Camila CAMILL _CCT, all my initials. But that's like my main platform. And then I also have a podcast where I talk about more storytelling and client stories about visibility, which is called Speak Your Truth and Look Good Doing It podcast on Apple and Spotify. And then my website, mariacamilaphoto.me. And that is about it. Those are all the platforms that I'm in right now. And just connect with me in any capacity, whether it's shooting me a DM or booking a call with me. Yeah. And then I share just tons of value as much as I can on the podcast or on my IG.
You do. You really, really do. Well, thank you so much for your time today and for sharing with us. You are such a light in our lives, in the studio lives, and hopefully we can, create more magic together here in the near future.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was such a joy. I love talking business and I love talking creativity, and it's nice to reminisce on my story that I'm like, wow, I did all those wild things.
Oh, it's important to do for sure. Yeah, well, thank you.